All right, thanks for being flexible there. Just had to take care of Mr. Bo, Norman Nido. So, appreciate you guys' flexibility there. All right, so we just got done going through that unit goal page and talked about how yesterday's goal and today's goal, we'll continue on that, is the concept of where did these 13 colonies come from? How did they originate? What was the basis for their origin? Okay, so we talked about Jamestown, Virginia, which on this colored map, once again, and we're looking at that, is right here where the cursor is, this bottom, I guess second from the bottom, red dot. Okay, Jamestown, Virginia. What I want you to do in your table groups, use your notes if need be, review how and why was Jamestown, Virginia set up, and what kinds of problems or conflicts did they have that they had to overcome. So what kind of problems did Jamestown have to overcome? How were they set up, and why were they set up? Maybe better answer that by who set them up. In your table groups, discuss, and go ahead and pause the video. Okay, hopefully you answered that by saying the London Company was the group that received the charter or the contract from the King of England to set up Jamestown, Virginia. Okay, so they sailed over. First two attempts failed, and some of the things they had trouble with was sickness, was disease, was trying to even make a profit that would allow people to have a livable wage. Well, part of that, too, was finding enough food and water. The early steps of every civilization was food and water. And so trying to create those things when you have a sick and dying population is very difficult. Okay, needless are they even worried about trying to flip a profit for the London Company back in England. They don't really care about that. They're just trying not to die. Okay, so remember 1610 was when they first have the profit, and that's when we talked about John Rolfe, and we also talked about how he was the one that married Pocahontas. So with that, don't forget, it's not John Smith, it's John Rolfe. Okay, eventually the London Company will lose their charter in 1624, making this settlement, this area, property of the King of England, hence how it becomes one of the 13 royal colonies, or 13 colonies controlled by the King of England, hence why they're called royal colonies. So that's Virginia. That's how Virginia gets on the United States map originally, is through the London Company. Okay. Now, as John Rolfe brings these seeds over, these tobacco seeds, tobacco has a revolutionary impact on the economy on the East Coast. And one of those ways is the issue of slavery. Okay? And we're going to get to this issue of slavery and how tobacco really is what brings slaves to the Americas. Otherwise, there's really no reason why slaves need to be utilized in the colonies. So before we move ahead, go ahead, type this into your Chromebook or just pull it up on the screen if we're able to, and go ahead and watch this. Okay, so if you're pulling it up on your Chromebooks, go ahead and pause the video now, type that URL in, and go ahead and watch this short video on tobacco and its impact on the 13 colonies. Otherwise, watch it as class, and we'll pick it up from there. Okay, hopefully that video was informative about the impact that tobacco really had on the 13 colonies and worldwide, how tobacco is really taking off. Nowadays we see it in cigarettes. Back then it was cigars, and cigarettes were starting to come about as well. So tobacco, huge deal, huge item for the colonists to be able to make money on. Okay, let's pause there on our notes. We'll pick it up if need be here in a little bit, but go ahead. Get out a blank piece of paper. Yes, you saw it probably before you watched the video. We're going to do a quick pop quiz, a couple questions, see how your learning is doing. So, blank piece of paper, a pen or a pencil, and you may use your notes. If you're using your Chromebook, you may not type any answers on or type anything onto your Chromebook. As soon as you type anything onto your Chromebook during the quiz, the sub will take your quiz and write on it what happened, and I will be giving you a 0 along with talking to your parents about it. So no typing on your Chromebook. You may scroll through, and that is it. Do not use the keypad arrows. Just scroll through with your fingers. Okay. If you're using paper notes, good, awesome. You may use those as well. So use your notes. No typing at this time. Only searching your notes for the answers. Okay. Put your name at the top of your page and what period you are in. Here we go. First question for the quiz. Name one cash crop in the colonies. Second question. What is the name of the company that settles Jamestown? And third, what colonial desire causes problems with the Native Americans? All right. Go ahead and take maybe about 5 minutes for those 3 questions. And then the sub will collect those quizzes. And I will grade them, or we will grade them when I get back. Okay, now you've taken that pop quiz. Let's keep hitting it. Okay, we've got tobacco as the big cash crop of the settlements. Hopefully that's what you put on that number 1 was tobacco. Okay, and so tobacco is very labor intensive. Okay, in fact, it is not a seasonal crop, so it's not something that you put into the ground and then you have come up 2 seasons later or 2/3 of the way through the year. No, it's something that is a year-long process of getting that tobacco plant grown large enough, then cropping back the leaves that you're going to use for the tobacco, for the cigarettes, for the chew, for those items, and it's very labor intensive. In fact, tobacco prefers a climate that is humid and hot. Think of our Nebraska summers, but in order to grow it, you have to have that for at least 2/3 of the year. So that makes the southeastern coast great because it's very humid. It's right next to the ocean. So you've got lots of precipitation, lots of humidity in the air, and in addition, the southern portion of the United States, it's warm. Okay, it's far enough down towards the equator that it gets warmer times of year and seasons that allows tobacco to grow. So when the colonists first came over, the people that would do this intensive labor, yes, was the colonists, but it was also people called indentured servants. Go and put that in your notes, indentured servants. If you already have it in your notes, underline it. This is a term you do need to know. Indentured servants were people that, in order to travel to the Americas, would promise to serve the company or a certain person for 4 to 7 years if that person or that company paid for their voyage. So get a load of this. In order for me to travel with the London Company, I could not go for free. There's nothing free in life. Okay, you have to pay. So I would have to go to the London Company, be interested enough to travel to the Americas, be interested enough to give up what I had in England and move myself or my family in addition to the new Americas and start my life all over again. Now, if you didn't have the money to pay for that ticket and pay for the ticket of your family, well, you could go the indentured servant route, which somebody else would pay for it, and then you would be the one, or that person would then have you be their servant for those 4 to 7 years. As you can imagine, that doesn't sound too fun to be somebody else's servant for 4 to 7 years. So the problem with indentured servants is as soon as they got off the boat, they would maybe serve for a couple of years, and then they would run away. Who's going to chase them down? Who's going to track them down in this new vast land where nobody knows about? Nobody's going to. So they would just flee into the wilderness and make their life in a little pocket of land in the Americas. And that was the problem with indentured servants. They would just up and leave. And you couldn't really do anything about it. There was no police force. There was no